Hello, my creeplings. Got another Christmas one. This is not a horror movie, but boy, does this one put the fun in dysfunctional. Now, I am a late Gen Xer, elder millennial, geriatric millennial. I was born in 1980. So, I have a special place in my heart for a lot of MTV icons, and one of those happens to be Dennis Leary. This is a Dennis Leary film called The Ref. My husband reintroduced me to Dennis Leary when we first started dating. He loved the No Cure for Cancer comedy stand-up album he had. He got me listening to it again, and then we both discovered this movie, and oh my lord. Okay, we'll just get into the nitty-gritty of going through the specs here, and then I will go off like I usually do. So this movie's called The Ref, directed by Ted Demme. Now, the only other things I'm aware of Ted Demme doing are Dennis Leary stand-up specials. Written by Richard LaGravenesse and Marie Weiss. This is technically a Disney movie. And I'll explain here. This was, the production companies were Touchstone Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer Films. Okay. Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. Touchstone and Buena Vista are both sub-companies of the Walt Disney Company. This is what they use to either release movies they're not sure that are going to do well under the Disney label. Believe it or not, Nightmare Before Christmas was a Touchstone release. Because Disney didn't think it was going to do very well. Now they claim it and market it from fucking August to January. But a lot, like The Rocketeer, I believe, was also a Touchstone release. These are the movies that Disney really feels like they're going to do well if they're more adult-oriented fare. And trust me, this is an adult-oriented fare. The language alone just... You don't want your kids listening to any of this. It's... Okay, so this was released in March 11th, 1994, which probably was not the best release date for it, considering this takes place over Christmas Eve. Lots of names in here. Of course, we have Dennis Leary as our main character, Gus. We have Judy Davis as one of our other main characters, Caroline. Her husband is played by Kevin Spacey. We are not going to talk about the man. We are just going to talk about his work in this, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Robert J. Steinmiller plays their son, Jesse. The only other thing I remember him from was when he was a child, again in the late 80s. He was the lead character, the main character, other than the dog, in the movie Bingo. I'm sure he did other things. I just can't remember. Another Disney tie here. Glynis Johns plays their grandmother, Rose. She's the mother to the Banks children in Mary Poppins, the original. So, yet another Disney tie. Christine Baranski, great character actress. Addams Family Values, Sybil Shepherd show Sybil. Mary Sunshine in the film version of Chicago. The woman's done so much. She was in The Birdcage with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. She's in here. She plays, I think, the sister-in-law. So many other... J.K. Simmons shows up as Colonel Siskel. And B.D. Wong from... I remember him mostly from Law & Order SVU. And... Margaret Cho's 90s sitcom All-American Girl. He's in here as a small role as their marriage counselor, Dr. Wong. I know, so great with the names. So, we start out in this lovely little affluent Connecticut hamlet. I don't know the name of the town. I don't think they mentioned it. Lloyd and Caroline, so Kevin Spacey and Judy Davis's characters, are at a marriage counselor. Because they are not doing well. Like many couples of that age group, they chose marriage counseling rather than divorce, but they're not really participating. poor BD Wong's character, Dr. Wong, I think wanted to hit them by the end of their session. While this is going on, we have Gus. Gus is a thief. He's a cat burglar, to be specific. He is a safe cracker. And of course, he's taking advantage of the fact in this rich little hamlet of breaking into homes that, you know, everyone's gone to Aruba or Jamaica or whatever for their holidays, that they're not home and they're leaving shit tons of money around. Unfortunately, he springs a trap, and his getaway guy, Murray, played by a character actor named Richard Bright. Now, he kind of reminds me of Mr. Futterman, Dick Miller, I believe. I always thought it was Dick Miller there for a while, and I'm like, no, that's not him, but God, he reminds me of him. The getaway guy gets spooked when all the cops show up, and Gus is left on his own. Well, Gus basically kidnaps Caroline and Lloyd and makes them drive him to their home. If Gus had even known anything about these characters, he would have just turned himself in, because the entire night is nothing but those two arguing, and their family showing up and arguing, and their 15-year-old son Jesse showing up, and Jesse's a juvenile delinquent who is blackmailing his military school teacher, Lieutenant Siskel, because he basically wants fast cash to run away. This is just a comedy of errors. You've got the cops showing up because they know they're doing house to house and they're checking in on people. And this whole time, Gus is holding one of the couple off screen by gunpoint, trying to get everybody out of this damn house so he can figure out where Murray is and figure out how to get the hell out of this town. Well, since everybody knows everybody, the cops are in and out. Then the extended family shows up, and they're just as fucking dysfunctional as the couple. All the kids hate it there. Grandma's an overbearing bitch. It's, when I say fun and dysfunctional, y'all just watch it. We end up, by the end, I know I'm going through this really, really quickly, but it's basically a bunch of arguing, and Gus is like, I hijacked my parents, trying to salvage what he can to get the hell out of there. But by the end of the night, the couple works together long enough to get their son to get Gus to the docks where Murray's waiting with a boat. We don't know what the aftermath is. It seems like the family's gonna start getting along. But, if you've ever had a holiday with a couple in your family on the verge of divorce, if you've ever been that kid that just doesn't fit in, and like the whole family bickers, trust me, you're gonna look at this and go, that's my family. And then you're going to get the lovely fantasy of being able to tie up the parents and throw them in another room. Dennis Leary is known for his rapid fire, foul mouth, tell it like it is comedy. And he's pretty much running on all cylinders in this one. The anger is there. The whole Dennis Leary is just right on display. I know in his older age, he's gotten a bit more mellow because of his kids and everything. He's done like voices and cartoons and things like that. But this is like peak foul-mouthed, rapid-fire Dennis Leary. And then you apply it to a Christmas movie. Guys, I am in heaven on this one. It really is a fun watch. Like I said, by the end of the whole, party, get together, whatever you want to say, All the adults have had meltdowns. Everybody's called everybody out for, what it is. And it feels kind of like it was cathartic for all of them. So again, I'm not like saying this should be standard, but if you have a dysfunctional family, you will get this movie and you will love this movie. Yeah, this, I know that some of these get so short because I don't want to give the whole thing away, especially since there's no like major effects to talk about or things like that. But this was really well written. And again, Dennis Leary has his stamp all over it. You really do get to see what the inner workings of a dysfunctional family is like at the holiday times, because when you live in a relationship that's falling apart, it's already difficult. But then you throw the having to have the charade of trying to keep it together for your extended family. Even if your extended family means well and is not as dysfunctional as, these particular folks are, it's difficult, and you can start to unravel at the seams. So then you throw, the iron bitch of a matriarch in it, a sibling who can't stand up to their spouse. The spouse is almost as overbearing as the iron bitch. The poor kids are always lost in it. Everybody is feeling the holiday strain on top of their normal strain. It's very, very true to life for a lot of people. Now, they don't always get the fantasy of, tying their mother-in-law up or their parents. They don't always have the benefit, I guess, of someone outside of the family. In this case, it's Gus. Masquerading as Dr. Wong. That's kind of interesting. The grandmother's like, "You're Dr. Wong." He's like, "My mother was Irish." "And your father?" Not. It's like, okay. But you don't always have the benefit of an outsider like that who's willing to call you and your family out on their bullshit. Which, again, to me is super, super fucking refreshing. Yes, you can tell I just watched a Dennis Leary movie because I am spouting off cuss words left and right. Normally, I'm not that bad, but the man just inspires me. There is I don't want to say if it's a cameo or a friend casting, but one of the cops, actually, if you've watched any of Dennis Leary's stand-up, specifically the No Cure for Cancer that I can think of off the top of my head, he works with Dennis Leary with his musical interludes. They do a song called Asshole in No Cure for Cancer. He's the band leader for that. And I think he did something else on at least one of the other stand-up specials. So, if you really want to watch a very funny, rip it apart, tell it to your face, crude adult Christmas comedy about a family that puts the fun in dysfunction, I highly recommend The Ref. Again, I'm a bit of a Dennis Leary fangirl. I love the rapid fire. It might just be my generation growing up watching him do these little 30-second spots on MTV, and then going in and getting into the No Cure for Cancer special. But I really appreciate how blunt he can be, and it carries over into this film. I still can't believe Disney released this, even though, yes, they did put it under their Touchstone label and their Buena Vista label. But then again, this was the 90s, and it was run by a very different group of people, and they were known for taking risks at the time. So, on that note, like I said before, I'm not going to wish you happy holidays or a Merry Christmas. I know there's people who don't celebrate at all. And I know there's people that don't celebrate Christmas, but they celebrate something else. I'm just going to say, keep it together, man. Hold through. This holiday season will be over soon enough. And then we can get back to being, doing our everyday suffering. And hopefully I will come back to you with some more fun movies. I guess my New Year's resolution, and I usually don't make resolutions, but one of the things I'd like to do in the new year is to get a bit of a wider variety of horror movies I'm watching. Because I know I delve really hard into that early and mid-'80s slasher genre and a lot of horror comedies. That is my thing. As Austin Powers have said, that is my bag, baby. But again, I'm taking recommendations. I actually have a few things that people pointed out to me on Twitter that I am looking into. How do you guys feel about me tackling horror anthologies? I know I started it with the Masters of Horror, and I have at least one more episode that I've been able to get a hold of. I'm looking to get a hold of more. But would you like me to maybe talk about individual episodes of like Tales from the Crypt or Creepshow, the anthology series? Not the 3 movies. Those are definitely in my list of stuff to go over as movies, but like the horror anthology television shows. Would you want me to do those? Would you want me to do it as a whole overview or individual episodes? Because I think with Masters of Horror, it'll definitely be individual episodes. But like Tales from the Crypt, I could talk about the entire series as an overview. Same thing with Creepshow. So yeah, give me your thoughts. And let me know if you've got any movie watching resolutions for the new year. Or recommendations that, you want to do for the new year. That, maybe a new show you want to watch. Or a director or actor you want to maybe catch up on their filmography, if you do that kind of stuff. If you don't, you can just say fuck resolutions, man. Every day is a new day, which is how some people think, and that is great. I like to have small goals for myself. So yeah, so if you celebrate, have a good time with your family. If you don't celebrate, have a good time if you don't have to work. Take that day off, relax, do something for yourself. Have a movie marathon, sleep in, take a nap, get your rest. Because I know even though a lot of us don't celebrate, or we're not people who celebrate actual Christmas, there's Hanukkah, there's solstice, all that stuff. Most of the world, retail-wise, and other job-wise, stops, and Christmas is the one day very few people work. If you are stuck working, I'm sorry. I hope everybody's nice to you. That would be all of my brothers and sisters in service, whether it be food service or hospitality service, and the lovely people in emergency work, firemen and EMTs and medical workers, and even those of you that work at the gas stations. Hopefully you have a good day and everybody's nice. If you're a tipped worker that day, I hope you come home with buckets of money. But in the meantime, I'm going to chill out here. I'm going to try not to let the holiday spirit get me down, but I'll tell you I'll tell you if I hear Mariah Carey warbling about All I Want for Christmas one more time, I think I'm going to poke my eardrum out with a knitting needle. That'd be an interesting kill, wouldn't it? In a movie, some crazy old granny going around stabbing people. Whoever wants to take that idea can. Just because I know I'm not the first one to think about it. But it just popped into my head as one of those, oh, that would be interesting. So, on that note, I'm just going to say good night, my creeplings. And I'll see you next time. Bye.